Foul is Fair, Chapter 24, Escape from Findias. The group retreated back to a building to hide. Where before, the city had been nerve-wracking with all the noise, now, the eerie silence, broken up by only the singing wind, was almost worse. "So we're trapped?" Megan asked, sitting up against one wall, with Aisling and the Count nestled together next to her. "What do we do now?" "Try to get some sleep," Lonnie answered. "Maybe they'll move if we wait long enough." Megan looked skeptical. "I guess we'll know if they do." For a while, she sat awake, listening for any sound of new noise, and eventually drifted to sleep, with the song of the wind playing over and over in her mind. Megan woke up to searing pain in her leg. A quick examination revealed that the cuts had puffed up and grown angrier under the bandages, and her calf was swollen. She managed to stifle the sounds of pain, but the noise still woke Aisling next to her. Up close, the pixie looked paler, more of a dull yellow, and thinner than Megan remembered. Her wings drooped, and her eyes were sunken. Now, Megan had no question. The city was having an effect on the pixie. A look around the rest of the room revealed Lonnie and Justin sitting together talking in one corner, where Lonnie had stacked up some of her supplies. Graffiti, mostly equations, covered the walls. Megan sat up, groaning as she did, drawing attention in her direction. Trying to ignore the injury, she looked at the graffiti, then at Lanny. "That's the nerdiest gang sign ever." "Gang sign?" Justin asked, looking between the girls. Megan noticed the glint of the jeweled hilt of the Sword of Light, now replacing the empty sheath on Justin's belt. Lanny sighed. "To avoid letting your induced grasp of modern English get led astray, I should mention that technically no gang sign is involved. That's hand signals. This would be tagging." Right, Megan said. "He can see gang sign when he sees you and care." "Never mind that," Lonnie said, looking exhausted. The deep cut in her side looked worse than Megan's ankle, even with the heavy bandaging they'd managed. "I think we have a plan." Megan glanced at Aisling, then back to Lanny. "I think whatever it is, we need to try it. And soon. Going to tell me what the math homework is all about?" "Engineering as it applies to classical mythology," Lonnie said. "Every invulnerable thing in a story has a weak spot. If you know it, and have the right weapon, you can beat them." "So we're going to stab them in the heels." "Right principle, wrong mythology. I spent the night trying to reverse engineer them." "I didn't think fairy magic would work here." "Menehune, we're not quite as vulnerable to iron as the Celtic Fae. It's actually still really unpleasant here, but I think I made it work, once you got to sleep. My conclusion is that it's best to go for the eye." "So what do we do?" "We need bait, and then we need Justin." Megan was about to speak up when Aisling interjected. "The Count and I are agreed. We're the bait." "Ah!" "You're both hurt. You could just get out of here now," Megan said. "I should do it." "On that leg? And Lanny can't do it either. Not all cut open. We're not leaving until you do. What do we need to do?" Lonnie looked about to object, then changed her mind. "Get one of them to swing down at you. We need to get the head within Justin's sword reach. Are you sure the Count can fly with you on his back?" "Gah! Gah!" "He says the last time he flew without me, I almost got myself killed, so we're sticking together, bad wing or no. He also mentioned that Justin snores, and recited his favorite limerick to get his spirits up." Megan glanced at Aisling. "Really? He said all that?" "Corvid is a very efficient language," Aisling explained. "It's like Spanish that way." "Corvid is like Spanish." "Close cousins, yes. After all, he is named in honor of Alvaro Capodillano, Count of Terreno." Megan opened her mouth to mention her father's explanation of the name, then thought better of it, guessing that the pixie was trying to put on a brave face of normality. "I see. Okay, so what do we do?" Lonnie checked her own bandages one more time, then started for the smashed open window. "We run as best we can and keep running until we're out of the city." I don't think they'll follow us based on your little trick with the golems and the chair. Okay, got it, Megan said, limping after Lonnie. I hope you're right. So do I, Lonnie agreed, giving Megan a brief hug. If not, we try to make sure someone gets away with the sword. Agreed? Agreed, Justin answered, following them out through the window. Megan took a deep breath, not at all liking the notion of leaving anyone behind. Agreed. There were bigger things at stake. At first, the Count looked to be unsteady in the air, wavering in flight, and flapping more than usual, but after circling a couple of times, he finally seemed to have the hang of it, and headed for the main gate. As soon as they approached the gates, the grating shouts began. The two golems standing sentry near the gate, each with a tower on their shield, closed to block the path out of the city. Others began stomping towards the group to surround them as they neared the gate. Aisling gestured, and the Count dove at one of them. The golem's initial swipe at the crow missed, but the bird didn't climb, instead landing on the ground in front of the tower golems. The one on the right swung his sword downward. The blow came close enough to send feathers flying, but the Count had managed to take off just in time to avoid anything more serious. Justin charged while the golem had its sword buried in the stone walk, then thrust upward, burying the flaming sword into the golem's eye. The eyeball shattered like glass, and a burst of blue flame shot into the socket. Something inside seemed to be still flaming as the golem staggered backwards, then fell over, unmoving. "Run!" Lanny shouted, as the golems closed in on their flanks. Megan didn't need to be told twice, sprinting as hard as her leg allowed toward the gate, despite the pain. Justin held his ground against the remaining tower golem. It raised its sword for him and slashed downward. Justin sidestepped the blow, the sword coming down an inch from him. Then he thrust the Sword of Light upward, striking the eye, with the same results as before. He spun, readying himself for more golems. Megan ran by him first, rushing out of the gates. Then Lonnie followed, clutching at her side. Justin started backing towards the gates, defending the retreat. He was almost to the gates when a golem caught up to him. He blocked the blow with his sword, only to have it smashed back into his chest. The force of the blow lifted him off his feet and through the air. He hit the ground and, unable to get back to his feet before they caught up, rolled out of the way as another sword blow hit where he'd been lying. He started trying to get back up and ready to fight when he felt a hand on his shoulder. "Justin, we made it," Megan said, looking at the line of golems stopped at the gate, watching but not moving. Then a panicked realization hit her. "We need to go back for—" Her words were cut off as the Count flew over the gate, flapping hard to keep control as he descended and landed on Megan's shoulder. "Right. Bird," Megan finished. "We need to keep moving," Lonnie said. "We have a long trip ahead of us, and not many supplies left. Besides, I know they're stopped right now, but I'm not going to feel any better until the city is out of sight either," Megan said, trying to help Lonnie move with as little stress on her side as possible, while Justin moved to help take some weight off of Megan's leg. "But what do we do about the dogs?" "I remembered to ask for passage both ways," Justin said. "Of course you did,"